All right, so this is Sleeping Dogs. This is a GTA-like game, of course, an open world city game, and it's one of the best ones that I've ever played. There were so many GTA clones back when GTA 3 first came out, but really, very few of them really managed to make an impact and have an identity of its own. Really, I think only this game, Sleeping Dogs, and Watch Dogs ever managed to make that impact, to differentiate themselves from GTA and have an identity of their own and be just as good, if not better, than some of the GTA games. And I absolutely believe that Sleeping Dogs is definitely better than uh, GTA 4. Not quite as good as GTA 5, but definitely better than GTA 4. I love this game. So one of the things that this game specializes in, that the true crime games established, which this game is a spiritual successor to, is the fighting, the hand-to-hand fighting. So the hand-to-hand fighting in this game is so good. It's just as good as something you would find in a game like Batman Arkham Asylum. I never played the true crime games, so I can't comment on how the fighting system improved from those games. All I can say is that in this game, it's great. Um, you have a upgrade path, a level progression system, and doing various tasks, playing through the main story will gradually unlock various different abilities. You can find statues to learn new moves. It's really, really robust and has that positive feedback loop where when you do something and accomplish something, then you become more powerful. And I love that. Any kind of open world game absolutely needs a level progression system of some kind. Um, the graphics I think are just great. From a technical point of view, you can see some blemishes, you can see some rough patches, some low geometric detail here and there. But the artistic perspective is extremely good. When you go in the city and you're looking at, at Hong Kong, it's just so gorgeous. It looks so much better than like GTA 4, for example. This game visually is so much better. I love the rain. It's raining right now, and you can see the reflections off the road and stuff like that. The weather effects look great. The city looks great. It's so colorful. A game like this absolutely needs to be colorful. It really captures the 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 sense of Hong Kong. The vibrant city that it is. It makes you really feel like you're there. I love it. There's also really cool things. You can see I'm in a custom outfit and I'm in my cloud car. There's lots of cool things and references to other video games that this game has, and that's so cool. I love that. There's so much stuff to unlock, and they have practical bonuses too. It's not just an aesthetic change. Some costumes give you increased resistance to like hand-to-hand fighting, or increase your melee damage, or increase your resistance to gunfire. Stuff like that. So it's it's not just like a visual difference. It actually has a practical impact as well. And doing various tasks, doing various quests and things like that will unlock different costumes as well. I also like the car system where you have like a parking lot and you can earn new cars to unlocking your parking garage. It's a much better system than the GTA games used to have, where you just could put a car in there and then it just would store it. In this game, you have actually like a permanent storage of cars, and I love that. The story is phenomenal. It's so good. The characters are interesting. The main character, Wei, he's good. All the voice acting is top notch. It really draws you into the story. The main character is likable. A lot of the other characters are likable and memorable too. So I really like the story. The gameplay, the gun, like already talked about the hand-to-hand fighting, but the gunplay is also really good too. Um, it's surprisingly good. But, you might say, well, if you have guns, why would you ever do hand-to-hand fighting? Well, the game actually manages to balance that pretty well. You don't carry around an arsenal of weapons at all times in this game, and oftentimes you'll lose your weapon, and it forces you to hand fighting. That you might say that could get tedious, and at times, you feel, you don't want to do hand-to-hand fighting, you just want to run and gun. But I think it mixes up the gameplay sufficiently so that you're never really you know get tired of any one particular kind of gameplay. um there's lots of different kinds of like side missions, like right there you saw it was like a race. So there's lots of races you can do. You could do cop missions which correlate to the upgrade system. We'll just take a quick look at all the different upgrades we have here. Lots of different upgrade trees here that are unlocked when you do side missions. So the one thing that people have criticized, and I do agree with, is the vehicle handling. It is weird, strangely weird. Like there's a noticeable stiffness to it. Like you can see it's kind of jerky. It's kind of hard to really describe. It's one of those things that you understand when you actually control the vehicles, but it's not terrible. It's not game breaking. It's just something that could be improved perhaps in the sequel, you know, especially when you play games like GTA, like the handling in those games is consistently good, with the exception, in my opinion, GTA 4. That the vehicle handling in that was too heavy. In this one, it doesn't really feel heavy. It's just like the steering feels off. It's a little bit too jerky. You know, it's one thing that maybe they could have done a little bit better, because you are going to be driving quite a bit. It is a GTA style game after all. So that's one minor thing. Yeah, there really aren't a lot of negative things to say about this game, honestly. Um, the camera is one more thing that I noticed. Like, I don't know, it doesn't want to see, like I can't rotate it around. Like it doesn't want to rotate properly sometimes, and it has that tendency to want to stick behind, like immediately. Like right now it's not too bad, but there are times when you're on foot especially, you're trying to rotate the camera and it just doesn't want to work properly. It's not that great, the camera. It's not terrible after all. It's just not as good as, a game like GTA where, the camera behaves itself. The game does have a parkour system. I'll just demonstrate that a little bit here. It works. It's cool. It's nowhere near as smooth and fluid as it is in Watch Dogs, but it works just fine. And there's these really cool chase sequences. Um, there's a couple of things that this game does that it kind of specializes in, and those chase sequences are one of them. And like you really see some of the detail in the city, which is just absolutely amazing. You'll be chasing after a guy, and it uses the parkour system. It does not use quick time events, although there are some quick time events during the fighting. But when you're chasing after people, you're chasing through the back alleys, through the streets, over buildings and things like that. And it's just so cool and cinematic. This game has like an action movie vibe to it. It really does feel like you're playing an action movie. One of the other really cool mechanics is you see right here, like I can actually jump from vehicle to vehicle. That's something that you can't do in GTA, and like during missions you'll do that, and it's just so much fun. It's so awesome. There'll be guns blazing, high speed chases going on, and you have to jump from your vehicle to another vehicle and hijack it, and it's so amazing. It's so much fun. I love doing that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Really the only two like negative things I can even think of would be kind of like the twitchy car controls, which are not terrible by any means, but could be better. and the camera can be a little weird and wonky at times. But other than that, this game is absolutely fantastic. If I had to rank it, I do prefer the Watch Dogs series. I know some people don't. There are plenty of people who prefer this game over Watch Dogs. So take that as you will. And I definitely think this game is better than GTA 4. Not quite as good as GTA 5, though. So, an amazing experience. I would love for there to be a sequel. Whether there will be one, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I love this game. And that is all I gotta say.